Hey, it's Jess.
And hi.
And today we're going to talk about Airbnb and some potentially groundbreaking new regulations that could really change the whole landscape of accommodation here in Japan. So first of all, what is Airbnb, for those who don't know?
So it's where locals can rent out their rooms or apartments and even whole houses to travelers that are in town.
So Airbnb has been booming in Japan, hasn't it?
Fastest growing market apparently.
Yeah, fastest growing market for Airbnb. So it has attracted quite a bit of attention from the hotel sector, who are not so happy about this chunk of the market that Airbnb is taking from them.
Right. And surely that has to do with the large numbers of travellers coming to Japan leading up to the Olympics.
So the Japanese government has been really pushing tourism in the lead up to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. They did have a target of 20 million visitors per year by 2020, but last year they almost reached that target already.
And we're 4 years off.
We're 4 years off. So now the new estimate is that there'll be 35 million foreign tourists in Japan by the Olympics.
Right.
So there is a lot of people coming to Japan and not so many places to stay.
So tell us what's going on, Jess. What are the new legislations?
Yeah, so basically the new regulations state that a minimum stay in a home sharing kind of environment, which includes Airbnb, should be a minimum of 7 days, basically a minimum of a week.
7 days? That's quite limiting, isn't
or
it?
6 to 7 nights.
Because most travellers don't usually stay in one particular place here in Japan for 7 straight days.
Yeah.
And so effectively making it illegal for hosts to rent out their rooms and houses for less than the stated 7 days.
Yeah. So this hasn't been implemented across Japan yet. Basically, this is a national guideline, but each city or area needs to ratify this legislation in order for it to become law.
And only one city in Tokyo has ratified.
One of the districts of Tokyo, Otaku, has recently ratified this legislation, so it's already come into effect in that area. Apparently Osaka is set to do the same thing from April. And
all of Osaka.
Who knows, how many more cities will continue to ratify this legislation going forward. What are the reasons why this legislation has come into place?
Well, the major group of industry that is against businesses like Airbnb are the hotels and like traditional accommodation choices.
So they fear, business being taken away, and they also find it unfair that, basically the whole Airbnb accommodation side of things doesn't have any regulations. It's kind of a new thing that the laws don't actually cover. So they're kind of a little bit upset that anyone can rent out a room or rent out an apartment, basically functioning as a hotel, but they don't have to adhere to any of the million regulations that traditional hotels have to here in Japan.
And so it's also the local people and residents who have a problem with Airbnb as well and other sharing services, right, Jess?
Yeah. So people who live in apartment buildings where some of the apartments are being used as Airbnb facilities are not too happy about the fact that essentially anyone can get access to their apartment building. Maybe there's increased noise, maybe some other issues surrounding, say, like foreign people not knowing how to dispose of the trash correctly or knowing how to follow local laws and local etiquette and that kind of thing. So there's a bit of tension there as well. We think it's a little bit sad that this has to happen.
We're not against bringing specific rules for these businesses as well. I believe that everyone should be paying their fair share of tax, and there should be specific legislation around that.
It's kind of like uncharted territory for
Right.
governments. They're still
Yeah.
trying to work out how to deal with it, how to deal with the tax situation, etc., etc. So we understand that completely. But we also feel that by limiting Airbnb in Japan, you're going to take away a lot of accommodation options for travelers. The fact is, there's not enough hotel rooms in Japan currently for the number of tourists who are visiting. So we don't really feel like this is going to threaten hotels. It may lend itself to some more kind of unscrupulous dealings that, Airbnb probably want to avoid. Like, for example, people booking for 1 week, saying they're going to stay 1 week, but having basically an arrangement with the owner where they only stay 3 or 4 days, for example. And I'm sure both homeowners and the people staying don't want to have to hide this and skirt around the law, right? I mean, of course, there has been a bit of a backlash from people who have invested a lot of time and money into their properties here in Japan for Airbnb, and from the traveling market who, have said that Airbnb made their trip possible, for example, because hotels are often booked out, especially in major cities around peak times, that for some people the only reason they were able to come to Japan is because Airbnb gave them a viable option for accommodation.
So I believe that it should be an open dialogue between the government, Airbnb, and hosts and whatnot to discuss what changes can be made that will benefit everyone. So we'll just have to wait and see how much this changes and whether this new law that's been brought in will be modified to reflect some of the opinions that are coming up because of since then.
So we'd love to know what you think about these new laws.
Yeah.
Do you think that a 1 week minimum stay is reasonable or not? Have you used Airbnb either in Japan or around the world? What do you think of the service? We'd love to know what you think about it. So please leave us a comment down in the comment section. And as always, please subscribe for more videos and follow us on social media, yada, yada, yada. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.